Joining us now, CNN's Dana Bash, Gloria Borger, and Roland Martin. It's been quite a couple days. Dana, you were at that announcement today. You heard what Senator Durbin said. Do you think he and Senator Reid, they actually think they're going to get the Republicans on board? I mean, Lindsey Graham has already said that he's not going to work with this on this anymore.
That's right. Democratic senators and the president, for that matter, they've already started reaching out to a handful of other Republican senators, Sanjay. But we talked to several of them today, and so far, no takers. Now, this program, as you just proved, likes to keep them honest. So let's keep them honest. Even as they were unveiling this, Democratic sources were telling us privately today they do not think that there's really a chance that immigration reform can pass the Senate this year. But they decided on a political strategy in this particular proposal to try to make it hard for some Republicans to oppose it. This is it. This is the proposal. It's 26 pages. And if you look at it, the first 17 pages, Sanjay, are really focused entirely on border security. Border security, of course, the issue that Republicans say that really needs to happen first and foremost, in many cases only. It is only until the last 3 pages that this proposal talks about giving legal status to illegal immigrants.
Now, I want to play you something, Dan, something the president said last night on Air Force One. Take a listen.
I know there may not be an appetite immediately to dive into another controversial issue. There's still work that has to be done on energy. Midterms are coming up. So I don't want us to do something just for the sake of politics that doesn't solve the problem.
Yeah, so it's interesting because it almost sounds like he's saying he doesn't want it, but then you're telling us leaders in his own party are pushing it. Is there a disconnect going on here, a little loss of discipline? What do you think?
All of the above. Look, President Obama's comments, Sanjay, do reveal a subplot that's been stirring behind the scenes for some time, a difference of opinion on whether or not this is really a good idea politically to push this right now. Many at the White House don't really want this politically divisive issue right now, but as one Democratic congressional source said to me, President Obama is not on the ballot this year, and some Democrats who are up for re-election are well aware of the fact that Hispanic voters are simply furious at Democrats for not keeping a promise to push immigration reform. And that especially goes for the Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, who was in a tough re-election battle back in Hispanic-rich Nevada. And the hope among some Democrats I talked to is at least if they show they're trying, tell Republicans put up or shut up effectively, that will give them political cover with those voters.
Gloria, along that line, I mean, not to sound too cynical, but I mean, is this just as simple as the majority leader?
Ahead.
Yeah, I know. You and I, well, I mean, the majority leader in the middle of a tough re-election fight who desperately needs Latino votes. I mean, is that what this is all about?
Yeah, I think that's part of it. One of the benefits of being the majority leader of the Senate is you get to set the schedule, whether the White House agrees with you or not. But clearly, Harry Reid has made the decision. Now he says we can do immigration reform and we can do climate change. We can do both of them. But when you talk to Democrats privately, as Dana was saying, they will tell you there is virtually no chance, Sanjay, none, that immigration reform is actually going to pass this year. And I talked to a moderate House Democrat today who said, look, the last thing in the world I want to be voting on in the House is immigration reform. I've already had a tough vote on health care. I had to vote for the stimulus package. And he wasn't so convinced that immigration reform was actually going to help Democrats in the long term with 10% unemployment out there.
Hey, Sanjay, can we just go ahead and call it like it is? We have political punks in Washington, D.C.
This is all preordained, Roland? I mean,
No, they are political punks. Listen to what Gloria just said. Oh, that moderate House Democrat, I don't want a tough vote. Well, why in the hell are you in Congress? I don't understand how you have people in the House and Senate who act as if they can't do climate control and immigration. Yes, it is a political year. Yes, people are running for office. But I think one of the reasons why you see so much dissatisfaction with political leaders across the country because they have no guts. And so I don't care if there's an election. You are sent there to represent the people. In Arizona, in Texas, in New Mexico, you're dealing with people who are facing crime, the people who are in this country illegally. And so what do? Not show up the borders? What do? Not deal with 12 million in the country illegally? This is why you need people in Congress who have some guts. Clearly they don't.
Well, they want to write a good bill, though, and I might add they don't want to hand the House of Representatives over to the Republicans, which would make life a little bit more difficult for the president.
Roland, were you surprised by the president's remarks last night? I mean,
first of all, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what President Barack Obama is doing. It's either It's on one hand. On the other hand, I'm sorry, take a actual position. Also, this is where the president should show some leadership. Either they should take it up or not. But to sit here and say, well, yeah, I know it's tough and there are votes, that and the other. No. Say this is what we are going to do and lead.
And you know what was really interesting? This certainly surprised me, and it probably will surprise you. That call for presidential leadership, that actually came from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi today. When she was asked about the president's comments, she said, you know, they want the Senate to go first in the House for the reasons that Gloria just articulated. But she said, look, the president's got to lead on this. President Bush did. President Obama's got to as well. Pretty surprising.
You know, this isn't, though, honestly, this is not a slam dunk for the Democratic Party in this economic environment. This could be really risky. And the Republicans I talk to say, okay, you know, they want to fight on this. We're going to talk about jobs for Americans. And there are lots of Democrats who say this president ought to be talking about jobs and trying to sell his health care bill.
Jobs, tied to immigration, trust me.
A lot of people surprised, I think, on both sides by what's happened over the last couple of days. We'll keep on it as well. Roland Martin, Dana Bash, Gloria Borger.